Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Arashimase, hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Try from Japan. Today we're looking at another Japanese TV series that you should watch. This time it's a more recognisable character in Spider-Man. The character of Spider-Man is one of the most recognisable superheroes in modern media. Created by Marvel comic writer Stan Lee and designed by artist Steve Ditko, he first appeared in the anthology comic book Amazing Fantasy issue 15 in August of 1962. He is a superhero born from an accident when teenage student Peter Parker is bitten by a radioactive spider. It gives him the ability of having the senses of a spider and also superhuman strength, speed, jumping and clinging abilities. He soon creates a costume to disguise himself and becomes a web-shooting vigilante. Numerous adaptations and portrayals of the iconic superhero have been created since that initial comic book appearance. With a number of animated series, a short-lived 1970s TV show, and multiple movies since the early 2000s, with the character of Peter Parker being portrayed by a series of young actors, to the most recent incarnation of the character being in animated form, with the teenager under the suit being Peter Parker's successor Miles Morales, providing an alternative person behind the superhero. With the influence of animation in Japanese culture being huge in the 1960s and 1970s, adaptations of superhero characters and stories for a Japanese audience was a big appeal. And so in 1978 a live-action series was first screened called Supaidāman, now lovingly known as Japanese Spider-Man. Just from the title sequence alone you can tell that this isn't your regular portrayal of the Spider-Man character. Just take a look and listen for yourselves.
Spider-Man キラリと光る光の目 Spider-Man 安らぎ捨ててすべてを捨てて悪を追って空かける Change the apart 君はなぜ君はなぜ戦い続けるのか命をかけて一筋に無敵の男スパイダーマン
The series, which aired in May 1978, ran for 41 episodes over 2 seasons on Tokyo Channel 12. It is only loosely based on the character created by Marvel, as will become apparent. Instead of teenager Peter Parker, we have 22-year-old Japanese motorcycle rider Takuya Yamashiro, portrayed by actor Kosuke Kayama, who later changed his acting name to Shinji Todo. He would be best known for his role as the General in the series Denshi Sentai Denziman, part of the Super Sentai series, which is the source material for elements used in the popular 1990s American series The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. When Takuya sees a UFO falling to Earth, his father, Dr. Hiroshi Yamashiro, who is a space archaeologist, is sent to investigate the crashed craft, but is intercepted and killed. Takuya, who has been following his father to the site, discovers a warrior named Garia, the last survivor of planet Spider, a world that was destroyed by Professor Monster in his Iron Cross army. Garia explains he was trying to stop Professor Monster and now needs someone to carry on the fight. He injects Takuya with some of his blood. Unique to the people who lived on planet Spider, it gives Takuya spider-like powers. Finally, Garia passes on his bracelet, a device which activates his protector costume, shoots web lines, and controls his crashed ship the Marveler, a ship which he discovers can also transform into a giant mecha robot called Leopardon. Using these powers, Takuya is to take on the Professor and his army whilst protecting Earth from other threats. The series, much like Superman and Batman, shows Takuya trying to protect his identity from being discovered, living two lives as his motocross racer and superhero defender. Later in the series, his identity is discovered by Juzo Mamiya, lead investigator of Interpol's Secret Intelligence Division, who asks him to assist them as Spider-Man in their mutual battle against the Iron Cross army, communicating with each other using a radio transmitter. The Iron Cross army consists of a female commander called Amazoness, who in an attempt to discover who Spider-Man is, assumes the identity of a magazine editor, the same magazine that Takuya's girlfriend Hitomi is photographer for, sending Hitomi unknowingly on the hunt to photograph evidence of Spider-Man's identity. Two ancient female warriors, whose mummified bodies were resurrected by the Professor, also fight for the Iron Cross army. Bella, who uses a bow with poisoned arrows as her weapon, and Rita, who wields a deadly machine gun. And the foot soldiers, or henchmen of the army, are robots disguised as humans called the Ninjas. Most episodes also feature different mechanical biological weapons created by the Iron Army, with the ability to go from regular size to giants, which also calls on Spider-Man to utilize the Mech Leopardon. After Kazuke Koyama as our main cast member, we see Rika Miura as Hitomi, who also starred in part of the Super Sentai series in the third entry Battle Fever J in 1979. Professor Monster was portrayed by Matsuo Ando, again a part of the Sentai universe. He was in the first entry, Himutsu Sentai Gorenga, in 1975. The Amazoness was played by Yuki Kagawa, who starred in the fifth entry of the Sentai universe, Taiyo Sentai Sun Vulcan, in 1981. Rita was played by Rai Reinhardt, who sadly has only acted in this one series. And finally Bella, who was played by two actresses, Tina Margot, who much like Rai only acted in this series, and then Juanita Somabrado, who played the character for the remaining few episodes, and again seems to only have acted for this series. The show was a big success in Japan, and the toy line, which included the Mech Leopardon, were a huge seller, so much so that the idea of the giant mech would inspire the use of the Tokusatsu trend through Toei's next big hit, which was the Super Sentai series itself. The show is an interesting part of the Spider-Man universe. Although not a completely faithful adaptation of the source material, it is a fun, sometimes goofy and often campy, family-friendly piece of superhero history. All episodes were later released with English subtitles by Marvel and can easily be found online. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe, and as always I've only got one last thing to say, that is arigatou gozaimasu, and I will see you on the next episode.